Ladies and gentlemen, today I've got with me the brand new DualSense Edge wireless controller that PlayStation sent my way for review purposes, and I want to just unbox this. So the unboxing embargo is today, and then the full review will be out in a couple days on January 23rd. I believe that's when the embargo lifts for the full review. Today I can only do an unboxing and kind of tell you how the controller feels. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. I've also got a regular PS5 controller here with me, a regular DualSense, so I can compare and contrast. So this should be interesting. I have not owned an Elite controller, which is what this is the equivalent to, but I'm excited to find out just what benefits this brings. So let's open this thing right up, like so, and let's see what is inside. All right, so let's pull this thing out. There's the PlayStation logo, and then from there I just have to open it like so, and already you can see that the controller is encased inside this, well, case that comes wrapped in this little blanket, and ooh, okay. Yeah, already I can feel the heft behind this case. I mean, the controller's inside there as well, but the case itself feels pretty high quality, actually. Has a nice thick sound to it. And then looking inside the box here, there seems to be something underneath. It's just the instruction manual. I don't need that. I need some casual. All right, so let's move this stuff out of the way so we can make the controller itself the centerpiece. Let's open this baby right up. And voila, there it is. This is what it looks like. So already I can see you've got these buttons here, the sticks, the different buttons, and the USB-C port up here, and then 3.5mm headphone jack down here. And then back here, you've got where the paddles go alongside this release switch. Now, before we delve deeper, let me show you what else comes in the case. So this is, yeah, there is a lot going on here in terms of little pockets and little slots for components to go in. So up here, you've got the cable that you'll be using to charge the controller with. This is USB-A to USB-C. I'll leave that in here. That's not the most interesting part. And then down here, you've got the different analog stick modules. So putting the case aside, let me actually drop these here. Okay, so what you've got here are a pair of the higher dome caps and then the lower dome caps. And there's two of each because obviously you've got the left and right analog sticks. And so let me actually take one of each. You can see right here there is a noticeable sort of height difference between the left and the right. This one's definitely noticeably taller, and it's got that more like DualShock 3 style kind of dome-shaped top instead of the one that sinks like it is in the default analog sticks here. So whatever your preference might be, you can take a pick and choose for yourself. Now back here, there is a little button to release the front latch. If I push it like so, you can see right here that this comes off. I can set this aside, and from here I can modify the various aspects of the analog stick here. And the way you remove the analog sticks is by taking this latch here, lifting it up like so, and then you can just kind of pop this out and then customize this on its own. From here I can handle this easier, so I can take the cap off like that. The one that I removed is the same length as the low dome cap here in terms of the length of the stick itself, you can see, but just the shape is different. This one sinks in. This one has that, again, DualShock 3 style outwards, a kind of convex shape. And so I can just like attach that if I so desire. Let me actually attach one of these taller analog sticks. And so that just kind of goes in like so. There we go. You can hear this nice click. And then from there, you're set. Let me actually do the same for the other analog stick. I can actually just pull it out from here like that if I wanted to. I don't have to pull this out, but, you know, if, say, this component gets damaged, you can just easily replace it, which is nice. So I'm just going to, for demo purposes, show how that works. So I'm going to leave the original cap here and then replace it with the taller one. Where is it? Right here. And let me slot that right in as well. Like so. You hear that click, and then I take these, slot them back in. Like so, and then I take the other one as well, Slot them back in like so. Bring these levers down, and boom. Ooh, already I can feel sort of greater range of motion because the sticks are taller. So with that customization done, I can take the cover here, put it back in like so, slot it back in. You'll hear a nice little click, and it's set. And then next time you want to do the same, you can just take that release button, push it to the side, and it'll pop right off. And yeah, this is pretty cool. For those wondering what these buttons down here are, these are function buttons used to essentially interact with the software to customize this controller. I'll get to that in my later review video. This is just the unboxing, but these are function buttons rather than buttons that you actually use for gameplay. The extra buttons come in the form of the back pedals that I'll install right now after putting these back into their respective slots like so. You can see right here that this just makes it very easy to carry everything around. They have all the slots here so that everything can be fit into the case comfortably. You can just take this with you and customize it on the go, which is really nice. But yeah, let's take a look at these back pedals. Interesting to notice that there are two varieties. There are these longer ones here, and then there are these sort of significantly shorter ones. It's also worth noting that these are pretty high quality material. These are metallic. When I drop them, they basically sound like coins. So these are nice and sturdy. Now let me go ahead and take the controller here and install this. And what's cool about these is that it's just magnetic, so you don't have to really finagle too much with it. You just kind of slot in there, and it just slips right in. You don't really have to do much with that. Let me show that again to you. Boom. It just kind of slips right in, and it stays there. It doesn't really pop out, and ooh, that feels really nice, actually. Yeah. It's got a nice but subtle click to it. Really nice feedback. And it just fits my hand just right from what I'm feeling. This is probably my preferred back pedals, but I do want to slip these out, which happens really easily like so, and try these. So this one goes on the right side like so, and then this one goes on the left side. You can see how easily they slip in. And interesting. So for these, what I like about these is that they are kind of out of the way. You can see right here that you really have to reach for them in order to be able to make contact with them. So if you feel like you're hitting the pedals by accident a lot, maybe these are better suited for you because it forces you to reach for them. You have to be a lot more deliberate about reaching for these. And so that's actually really convenient to have the option. For my part, though, I think the reach is a little too far for me. So if I want to like move and then sprint with the back button, for me personally, the reach is a little too much. But for bigger hands, this might actually be really suitable. So for me personally, what I'm going to do is switch these back out for the longer pedals here. And they just slip in, boom, and boom. And so with these, you're always going to have your fingers on them. So I can see myself pressing them by accident, and that might potentially persuade me to switch back to the smaller ones here. Actually, I might switch them around depending on what my mood is, because with these you can see that there's no way for you to not touch these. Your middle finger will always be situated on them, and it's actually a fairly light touch to press, so I feel like I will be accidentally pressing them a lot unless I make a conscious effort to keep my middle fingers out of the way or sort of lift it in the air like so as I'm playing. Maybe actually, I might actually prefer the smaller ones. But the fact that you can switch them in and out so easily is just so nice and convenient. This is actually really cool that you can do this. So let me just slip these back in there. So yeah, these are out of the way. I can play like normal. Middle fingers are out of the way from the pedals here, and whenever I want to reach out and use them, boom, I can reach, and these might actually be my preference now. I don't know. I'll have to test them out. This is just an unboxing video, so it'll all depend on what my gameplay experience is for when I do that review. Something else worth noting on the back are these switches that essentially define the range of motion for the triggers here. So right here, you can see at the very top, it's got that long line that indicates you got the full range of motion. And then if I slip them down to the second level, that's a little shorter, so you can see that they don't fully press. Whereas if I put them back up again, they go all the way in. Second level, go sort of about halfway, or maybe like 2/3 of the way. And then the third level, you barely get any motion. So you got essentially digital buttons. And oh, something else I'm noticing here is that the triggers are textured sort of towards the end there. So that gives you just a better grip on the triggers, whereas the regular DualSense controller, it's just a smooth texture, which is fine, you know, nothing wrong with that, but that extra added texture actually gives it a more premium feel and does make it grippier, so that when you're, say, on the highest level of range of motion, you're kind of holding it on like this, your finger just doesn't slip, it stays put like that. So that's really cool, actually, because there are certain games where, you know, I'm going to be mashing the trigger, and for that, I don't want the full range of motion where I have to do this and it becomes really tiring. So having the option to just have it have that minimum range of motion where I can very quickly click on it, that's really cool. And then if you just want sort of a middle ground where there is some analog input, but you don't want to go too far in terms of range of motion because it might get tiring, you can set it to the second level. And then the last thing I want to show off before closing out the video is this little guy right here. This is essentially to ensure that the USB cable stays locked onto the controller so that when you pull on it, you don't accidentally make it so that the cable disconnects from the controller. So let me show you what that looks like. Let me take out the USB-C to USB-A cable here, which you can see right here is braided, and so it just gives it a more premium feel, and it just makes the cable a little more flexible and just it keeps it just more protected. And so let's actually unscrew this thing here and unravel the cable itself. It's fairly long. But let's take this guy right here, thread the cable through it. There's actually a cap here that I can open so I can slot in the cable through this circular slot, and out goes the USB-C output, which then I can insert onto my controller like so. And you can see right here, it can slip in and out very easily, but if I lock it like so, you can see right here I'm pulling pretty hard, but it just stays locked in there, which is nice. So that's just there for those who need it. I am personally going to use this controller wirelessly more often than not, but for those who, you know, maybe need to keep the controller charged while using it, this is a great solution just in case. So let me unlock this and take it back out and put this aside for a second. I think for like shooters, the taller analog sticks are great, but then if I want to play an action game, you know, I can just slot these out easily, grab these guys right here, the original, insert it back in like that. You can see it slips in with a click really easily. As you can see, you can really experiment with this controller, what configurations work best for you, and just kind of go ham. I am really, really loving this so far. As for how it compares to the DualSense here, the regular one, let's see, actually. Yeah, the button presses don't feel that different. But the analog sticks. Yeah, in terms of the overall feel of the inputs, it's about the same. But of course, now you got these extra buttons back here, which the regular DualSense doesn't have. And then with the triggers here, again, you have just more control over them thanks to these bad boys, which are really, really convenient. Design-wise, there's a little more going on with the DualSense Edge. You can see there's more of that Stormtrooper look with the black and white. And looking at the back, you can see there's some lines that go all the way around that just gives it a sleeker and more premium look. But generally, you know, you're not missing out on a whole lot in terms of inputs. What you're missing out on if you don't have an Edge is the customizability of having these extra buttons and the triggers and being able to modularly modify the analog sticks and these function buttons to further modify the controller via software. All of that stuff I'll be exploring in a future video. But for now, yeah, I am so far really intrigued by what this is offering for me. And I'm excited to see how this will impact my gameplay experience with specific genres of games. So look forward to a more thorough review down the line. Let me put this stuff back in here and see how easy it is to get everything back inside the case. So these pedals go in there like so. I can probably... Can I actually keep these pedals in there? Yep, and it slips in just like that, so you don't have to undo the back pedals. I'm actually going to return these smaller ones back to their original slots. These ones right here are actually a little more difficult to slot back in, but you just have to finagle a little bit. Boom, just like that. I'm going to slot these in once more. This one goes here, and this one goes here. And still, I believe it should fit in the case, and there should be no problems closing it up. So yeah, you can set up whatever configuration, put it back in. You don't have to reset everything. And then for the cable here, I can probably just wrap this up like so, and put it in this little pouch. And still, I should have ample room to close it up. And boom. It's all in this nice little package that I can just put in my bag, take with me, and yeah. There you have it, folks. That's my unboxing video and first impressions of this PlayStation DualSense Edge controller. Let me know in the comments below if there are any specific topics you want me to cover about this controller or any specific questions you want answered in the full review. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.